Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Garden of Ethan. Welcome here. Glad you're back. I love it's fun doing these. In the sense that it's just kind of like my take a step back for sometimes I have like things planned and I have a couple obviously I have things planned to talk about. Sometimes I like last week we did the Australian episode, which I thought was really fun, really cool to do. It's also just something like I enjoy talking. I like having some sort of at least I did the research. Like I knew some of it, but to like present all the facts in a non-great way. I didn't I just read them out. But to be able to like just throw some facts out there, maybe someone learned something. I thought they were all fun and enjoyable. Was a real good time, real fun. Also, what is these two? I swear to God, like I try and that's rough. Sometimes it's just we're having a day. I gotta learn to shower after I record because my hair just goes wild. But yeah, the thing I like about the podcast is it feels like a very like kind of reset for my week. Like it makes me really take into, especially when we're doing like a nice catch up, chill one. Because that's what I like listening into podcasts. Like I like talk about things in a bit of variety, but I also like kind of like a day-to-day thing, like what's been going on with the week, checking in, but really makes me have a nice little reflect. It's kind of like a diary in a way, which is something that I've always wanted to do, but I know I'll never do it. It's one of those things like it's easy to do, I just won't do it. I know I don't want to start it because I know I'm not gonna, those things that you intrinsically know it's just not going to happen. It's like I wanted to keep a dream journal forever in life. Like it's something I've always wanted to do and I've tried here and there and I just don't keep it up. It's also the thing about dream journals is it's hard because one time I started doing it, like I'd have the dream and sometimes you wake up and in the middle of the night I'd write about it. But that was just kind of hell. And I was like, I don't want to write anymore. I just want to go to, straight back to sleep. And then in the morning, sometimes you like forget it really quickly. So that doesn't like work either. Or you wake up and you're like, the last thing I want to do as soon as I wake up is write an essay on some random nonsense stuff that was happening in my mind throughout the night. But where was I going? Also, I dream a lot. Like I dream so often, like most nights I'd say. I don't know what that says about me in general, like if it's a thing or not, something strange. I just dream a lot. I always have. Maybe I've got an overactive imagination. I remember where I was going. But yeah, it's just like the podcast is a nice like journaling exercise. It makes me slow down, think about the week, think about what I've done, think about what I want to catch up with y'all, like what's going on. And slow week hasn't been the most week. I feel like there's been a lot going, like a lot of shows in like my reaction realm work sphere. Sometimes like you'll have I have on and on a couple of months where we do like the shows that like we vote on or we all talk about to do, which is like the best and fun because I love watching what people want to watch and it's enjoyable. I know the shows that people vote on are shows that people like, but it's kind of like we're all doing it together and the people that stick around. That's one of the things I love about that is like, it feels like we're building that, like we're all here and kind of, I love that. But when we do new shows, it can bring in some like new people, which is always fun. And like, we can all appreciate these things together. But sometimes so many shows come out that I want to cover at once. And it's like, I'm just like, I physically can't do that much. Also like with works going on in my building, like I have a smaller select window because I never know when they're going to make an abundance of sound. So like I try and like keep it to like after. It's a whole thing. But like this past couple of weeks we've been doing Heartbreak High, which has been so fun and enjoyable. Season 2, Australian show. I think I talked about it a bit in the last one. And currently it's not out yet as of this recording. This will be out before the edits of that. I've started Fallout, the new TV show based off the game, And so far it is really good. I'm 2 episodes in, and I can't wait to like put them out there, see what people think. Like, I don't know. It's a really cool show. I'm really interested. Like the plot is very good. Like I'm constantly like, what's gonna happen? Who's doing what? Like I need to know these things. I love those shows where there's like a big sense of like world mystery. I think that's really cool when you get to really think. And I love like trying to guess a plot. Like I love like having my head get to tinker with all the different ideas and figure stuff out. I think that's really cool. So a show that has that mystery element really like drives my like what's going to happen. Also, on a side note, I had a comment the other day, and I've had these comments before, which really weird me out. I love talking. Okay, we'll talk about the comment and we'll go what I was gonna say. They're like, oh yeah, like great, you guessed like all the things that happened. You like definitely watched the show beforehand, and I'm like, see, like again, the comments don't get like they like annoy me a lot, but it's not like I'm like, oh no, it's just I find it hilarious. I'm like, why on earth would I watch the show and then rewatch it again for the reaction just so my guesses could be right? Also, like, it would be so much less like, I wouldn't want to. That's so much work. It's not even so much work. It's just like you spend an hour watching it and then you go rewatch it straight away. Like, I love shows, but like to watch it twice in a row is a lot, you know? I was like, why the hell? Just for a couple of guesses for a YouTube reaction? Like, the whole fun of a YouTube reaction is making the crazy guesses and seeing if any of them become right. And I love, like, you know, I watch a lot of movies and TV shows, so I feel like I have some good guesses sometimes. And even the wacky ones are just, like, absolutely hilarious. And it's just like, why would I watch it before? I can't but it's so wild to me in my mind. But there is like a part of me that is like, we could do a whole this is horrible. We could do a whole episode of the podcast, or just a video, you know, anything that's just me reading out comments that I don't reply to. I'm a horrible replier in general. We've talked about this. I've covered this. I'm just horrible and useless. Half the time I'm just so focused on like editing and filming that it just like slips my mind, and then I feel it's a whole, that's a first of whole thing in its own. But I don't reply to certain comments specific, like when I do my big, like I try and just like reply to a bunch in like, not in like bulk, but like at one time, and I'll be like, yeah, and then, you know, I get to chat, and it's a lot of fun, but I'll, you know, they're not all good. And you get a couple and I'm just like, you know that, you know, in the Harry Potter movies when Voldemort's in the suit, it's the one where Harry's like becoming similar to Voldemort and he keeps going, like he's gonna like break out, like he's gonna like fucking rage. I do those every now and then. I do it with my friend that I go to the gym with. I'm just like, because like if there's a mean comment, like when there's like great comments, I'll talk about, and I'll talk about like certain comments, because like some of them, like you'll say the most interesting stuff and I'll be talking about it, and like, or we'll be having a chat and it's relevant to something. I love talking about the good comments. But sometimes when there's like a mean or negative comment or something that I just can't understand, it's like really passive aggressive, I'll just be like to my friend, I'll be like, can you fucking believe this? I'm just like, what the fuck? I just go, I get it out in real life, so I don't reply. I'm like there's some where I just like, I'd love to say certain things, and I'm just like, I've just gotta not, because there are just rude ones, which don't need to engage with at all. But there are some that I'm just like, I feel like they've missed the point of what my channel is. I'm just like, I know what they want in their content, but they're just in the wrong place. You know what I mean? I'm just like, y'all need to, like, they need to curate their what they want better. Because I was like, I do similar to a lot of people, but everyone's is like going to be somewhat different. And there is a lot of personality in things. And I find when I watch reaction content, which I do consume a lot, I love to see like the personality of the reactor. I love like knowing, like, you know, you're watching things with them and then they go off on a tangent about something in their real life, and that like makes it more personal to me, and that's what I love. So therefore that is what I try and emulate. Like that's what I, you know, I want it to be, you know, us as like, we're friends, we're having chill time, we're having a chat, a talk, we're watching a movie together, watching TV together, and we're just like shooting the shit, having jokes. And that's the vibe, you know what I mean? And just some of them, I'm like, they're not here for that, which is okay, but they don't need to tell me that I'm doing it wrong. I'm like, it's what I want to do. But yeah, I think some of those so far, I haven't even like started on, I've just gone tangent to tangent to tangent. Speaking of Heartbreak High, I will get onto this. It was a comment, a good one, a good one. And they were talking about how they're like, can you do a Heartbreak High Q&A? And I was like, I did a whole video for like, I was really in a Heartstopper mood, and Heartstopper, when the last season came out, I did like, not so much a Q, but like a follow-up. It had Q&As. It also had like character analysis. I did like a couple of hours. It might have been an hour to, it was a long video. It was really fun, but with Heartbreak High, it's just like, I would love, you know, I'm just going to answer like what they said as an example of like questions, and like, I'll be like, if anyone wants any more questions or follow-ups, I'll talk about it in the next one. I'm happy to talk about it. But I was like, because I stick to now I'm like, oh, I've got everything, like one video planned for every day of the week. I was like, oh, I'm not going to fit that in. So I was like, I'll put it here, because it's my things where I can slot a lot of different things in the podcast, which I think is fun. But they said, can you do a Heartbreak High Q&A? I was like, yes, kind of. And if we need follow-ups, more questions, just ask and I will get to them in another video, or if you just want in the comments, let me know. But top 3 scenes of the season. Now, I haven't thought about it because I like a whole fresh off the, like, think about it intrinsically. Top 3 scenes of the season. My first thought goes to when the little brother disappears at the end. Also, spoiler alert, I will try and remember to put a spoiler alert in. That doesn't make a lot of sense if you haven't seen the show. Okay, good. Actually, I feel like that's not, if you don't know anything about the season, or really, even if you're going into it, that might not have been the worst because it's very out of context. But spoiler alert going ahead for Heartbreak High Season 2. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm such an idiot. When the little brother disappears, that is crazy to me. That was like when we like find out he's been dead the whole time. I wasn't expecting that sort of like, it's not even like a plot point. It was just something that happened, but it was very like cool and interesting. I thought it really like was something different for what we would usually see. And I thought that was just really, I was so taken aback. Like, Rowan being the bird psycho and everything, that was interesting, and that was really cool, and I liked that plot. But it really started, like, they started revealing it maybe a bit earlier than I would have liked. Like, I wanted to keep it a mystery, like, I like a moment, like, that's it, and because they were kind of like, no, it's him. I was like, okay, yeah, I get it. But when the brother was, like, dead the whole time, and maybe everyone saw it and I didn't, but I was like, he was dead, or it's just crazy. Because I just assumed, and I was saying this, so one of my friends was like, you didn't see it coming? And I was like, in my mind, I was like, they just had another kid. And I was like, it's a really sad thought in my mind for what happened. But I was like, you know, there's that chance, like the parents like were grieving and had another child to kind of fill that, which is really sad and, you know, a hard thought. But I was like, that's what I thought they were doing with that. And he just had a little brother, like another little brother. But other scenes, I really liked the camp. I thought the camp was really cool. Specifically, I really liked when Amory took charge, when Queenie got bitten by the snake, and everyone kind of had their roles and came together. I really enjoy that. Seeing everyone, like, working together towards, saving Quinny, been like getting Missy to lead, all the other people like holding her. Amory's like, we get the handkerchief, everyone do this. I liked how she stepped up because she's really like, we need to save her, especially since everyone's beating her down, and everyone kind of like put their differences aside and was like, we're going to say, like, we all suck in different ways, but we also want Quinny to live. So I really enjoyed that scene, and like, when Missy's like leading the pack and Jojo's running to them, I thought that was a really cool scene, and I really liked it. And I'm trying to think of the last one. I think a lot, surprisingly, didn't think this was going to happen coming into the season. And we'll have an honorable mention for the Malachi Rowan stuff. And I love the discussion in the comments, because I said under one of them, I was like, I don't know if Rowan ever loved or is interested in guys. And a lot of people were saying they think he probably was, but he just, when he saw the connection with Amory, he was so like ready for, that kind of overcame him, and that's what the catalyst was. Obviously, I think we'll never know. I'd love to, someone text the director, someone be like, what was the actual vibe? And I heard they actually had, I don't know if this is a season 1 or season 2, because I've been watching a lot of interviews. I've been really going, they all seem really fun. Like, they seem like a really cool cast. And Amory and Spider both do music. That's cool. But yeah, I've really gone on a deep dive. I think they had a couple of different directors for different parts of the show, which I think is very cool too. But the Rowan and Malachi stuff I did really enjoy. It was just, gay nonsense, and I loved it. It was just, it really hit me in that part of the brain. But I think my surprisingly other favorite bits were, Missy and Spider scenes. I really, really enjoyed them. Seeing them kind of like flirt and get together, and then kind of being like, oh, well, Spider's a dick, and then not excusing his behavior, but seeing how his mum treated him, and then Missy kind of been a bit vulnerable with him, and then both dealing with his erectile dysfunction, and then kind of moving toward like through that together. And it was tough when they kind of like broke up a bit, and then they got back at the end. I don't know. I think there was a lot of really interesting moments from two very opposing viewpoints of how they both think, and then could come together on certain things. I really like this scene. I hope if we get a season 3, which I'm hoping for, that we'll see more of them, because I really enjoyed it. It was just, we got to see like a vulnerability to him and even her, because they're both very strong like characters, which I really enjoyed. Which couples do you think will last? I want to say Darren and Cash, but I assume next season they're going to break up again and then get back together. I love Darren and Cash, but God, I feel like there's just a lot of miscommunication there, and that really strains their relationship at times. But I do believe they are like soulmates, and really like beautifully. I love them together. They just need to talk more. Harper and Ant are very cute. I feel like it's hard because I don't know who I see staying together or breaking up. I feel like Amory and Malachi will definitely have to come back together because there's so much on that. And who else? Spider and Missy, I really hope will stay together. And there are any more couples? Quinny and Sasha, just in the fact of like working together, I think they're cute. But the ones I want Missy and Spider to stay together. I think I'm a real simp for them, but I really do want Amory and Malachi to get back together. And then yeah, Darren and Cash, I feel like could split again before they get back together. And then we got who do you think will last? Who do you want to see together next? I guess we don't really have. I guess Sasha's an odd one. I feel like if they do other characters, if they do have a couple of the other characters find partners, they're going to really I think they'll have to add a couple of new characters and love interest in for them, because Sasha doesn't really have anyone. For the ones that aren't like partnered that I can think of, it's just Sasha and Quinny. And I don't think they should be together because they already explored that once. So I think they could have a couple of different characters be added in, which would be very interesting. Also, the last one was, have you ever played Stacks On? Which I assume is referencing to when they boys stacked on after they left JoJo's sluts class. And I was like thinking about, I was like, have I ever played Stacks On? I guess like kind of. I wouldn't say anyone's ever said like, I guess someone's probably yelled out Stacks. I feel like there are a lot of memories of just jumping on people. But was it maybe an informal game of Stacks On? Because like I lived a very, I feel like mostly boys childhood for like semi most parts. Like I liked to fight as a not like mean fight, like, you know, fight enjoyable like rough house as a kid. But I was like, maybe when I was only younger, because I don't remember any Stacks On in high school. Like, ever. I did go to an all-boys school, but I don't think I ever saw Stacks On, which would have been interesting. Maybe I've just locked it. I'll keep a thought out, and I'll let y'all know. I'll keep it in my mind. But that's it for the one comment. Be like, oh, let's do a Heartbreak. But if y'all want more, I'm happy to. I loved Heartbreak High, and I've been talking about it with my friends. So if you want me any more, let me know, and I will talk about it happily and gladly. Now, one of the things I was like, I wanted to talk about, there's two more things I've got on my list. I think they'll perfectly sum up, well, not sum up, but like, get us through, to finish off this episode. First of all, we have, for what's been going on in my week, not a lot, but, I am going out this weekend, so maybe I'll have something interesting to say for next week, if there aren't many Heartbreak High questions up. But this week, what happened was Taylor Swift's new albums / combined album released, so I have to talk about it at one point. First of all, I did for her last album, because she's my favorite, like one of my favorite artists. I won't generally do too much album talk, but for a couple of my favorites, e.g., Taylor Swift and Aurora, I will be talking about albums if they release. Just a quick segment, but I was going to react to her album as I did her last, but I was just kind of like, also I didn't know this one was going to be 31 songs, 2 hours, so that would have been like, it probably would have been a 3-hour video, which would have been wild, and I was already like semi falling asleep that day. So I listened to it myself. I like just sat in my lounge room, tried not to fall asleep, because it's actually weird. A lot of a couple of Taylor Swift albums, when I first listened to them, I have completely fallen asleep, and a couple of them that I have fallen asleep to have become my favorite album. So it was no slight on the album at all. And this one nearly happened. I was like, fuck, am I gonna love this then? Because it's the coincidence that happens. But I listened to the first half of the album, didn't know the second half existed at that point, and really enjoyed it. I liked about 10 out of the 16 songs I think were first, and then the second album, I listened to it, I like went and saw my parents that night, and then came home and listened to the rest of it. And on first listen, I didn't like the second part of the album as much. I still stand by that. I like the first half better. But I really come around to a lot of them. A lot of like, it's that unique thing where you have your first listen and some songs will always stay at the top and like stay where you initially thought. And then some songs change so much. One of my favorites is probably, let me get Spotify. Let's just look at I'll just talk about a couple of my favorites because this is a very different album for her. Like she switches up a lot what vibe she's going for. I think if you're listen to the radio much, you'll probably hear Fortnite, which is her like song with Post Malone that seems to be on the radio already all the time, which I do really like. But if you're not a big Taylor Swift fan, I get it. But maybe a couple of these songs I will put a couple of my favorites. I won't talk about too many, but I'm like, maybe if you want to, give them a listen and see how you feel. It's also a very like interesting album. There are a lot of like very unique sounds. They're all very personal. I think it's a very like healing album, like album to think about. And you know, she's put a lot into it, and I think even some of the songs, I think, I don't know, in my mind, and this isn't to say anything about the songs, I feel like she was like, I don't care what or who or what anyone listens to these, as things that I felt like she needed to write and put out there, which I think is really good with music, as I feel like a lot of people do write music as like, you know, therapy and a release and an expression of like thoughts and feelings. So I liked some of them, just felt like a lot of like raw emotion, which was really good. But a couple of my favorites are big favorite, Florida, featuring Florence and the Machine. So Long London, very good. I wonder if I'll ever look back on this and be like, ooh, like, what am I talking about? My Boy Only Breaks His Favorite Toys, very good. Very good song too. Who's Afraid of Little Old Me? I Can Do It With a Broken Heart. The Alchemy. The Black Dog. I'm just going down. The Prophecy and The Bolter. They're a couple of my favorites. I really do like a lot more of the songs than that, but just to like not overwhelm anyone who maybe wants to have a little bit of a dabble, get their feet wet in a Taylor Swift album. It's a very like, some of the songs are very sad. They're all very connected to different things in her life, I think. And I'm not like, I'm a big Swiftie, but I'm not one of the Swiftie detectives. I do love, I think a thing about her work and her music too is she is very like pointed, and she picks things to write about, and her hidden messages and things are about and coded. I think that's fantastic. I think it's great, like marketing genius, just her genius. I think it makes people dive even deeper into her work and appreciate it. And I love that like thought of, oh, I can listen to this and kind of, speculate who it's about. But it's not even like, like they wouldn't want you to speculate. Like she has all this stuff for you to think and try and figure out what's going on, which I think is really cool. I like that kind of, you want to like, you know, she has the song called Thank You, Amy, and then it's all in lowercase, but the 3 capital letters spell out Kim, and it's like Kim Kardashian, which I'm assuming it's about. But again, I'm also not on TikTok, so I don't see all the TikTok theories. I just see a couple on Twitter every now and then. But yeah, it was really cool. And like, you know, the Tortured Poets Apartments, everything's very... There's a couple of songs where I'm like, they got too poety, too many words going on. But it was really cool. Also over on Patreon, one of my followers picked out a movie this month. Yes, this month. And I haven't posted it yet, so it's like a sneak peek. I really love the movie. Thank you for your recommendation. You know who you are. I also hate, this is a other complete side note, I hate saying anyone's name because I don't know what sort of line that crosses. I don't think anyone cares. I think I've said this in that Heartstopper video I did. I just don't like want anyone to like feel like they're thrown out or no, you know what I mean? I don't want to like put anyone on spotlight or anything. So I just say, y'all know who, you know, when I'm talking about y'all know who I'm talking about. But again, thank you for the recommendation. But we watched Dead Poets Society, and I felt like it was such a like worlds collide, perfect timing, coincidence, because I watched that movie a week or two ago. I really enjoyed it. Really fantastic movie. Won't talk about it anymore because it'll be up on Patreon as a Patreon exclusive soon. But I watched that, and then she releases The Tortured Poets Apartment, which is kind of like, you know, they both got poets in it. But she, in her Fortnite music video, that just sounds wrong. Fortnite, not the game. Like, it's just, the game's really ruined that word for me. In her music video for that song, you know, Post Malone was in it because he sings, but she also had Ethan Hawke and another actor that was from the Dead Poets Society, which I thought was really cool. And I love Ethan Hawke. Just because I love Maya Hawke, who's in Stranger Things. I love his wife Uma Thurman, who Kill Bill is a real favorite of mine. I absolutely love those movies. So everything just was connecting this month, and I was like, what the hell's going on? But I like it, and it's just so cool that it was the first time I watched Dead Poet Society, even though I've heard about that movie for so long, and then that just pops up again. I just thought the connection was really cool. It felt wild, but really good. They weren't in that music video like a lot. They were just showed up, and I think it was just a nod to the whole poet theme, which was cool. It was just nice to see that. And then the last thing was my obsession at the moment. We're talking about my monthly, it's been like 3 monthly obsession, is I've been watching, I don't know if anyone watches this, y'all know of, people would know of Smosh. No, like, not saying they're a small underground. Smosh is like a big thing, but who knows it? Who knows? But I've been watching a lot of like Smosh. I get in and out of like, content creators that I like love, and then I don't watch them for like a certain amount of time, and I go, ebbs and flows. Am I right? But I've been watching a lot of their like card games, like challenges. I've been watching the podcast with Shane and Amanda. I've been watching a lot of this stuff. Some of their card games, and them playing like those games together. I haven't laughed that hard at any videos in absolute years. I've just been having the best. Sorry, just a shout out to say how fucking funny those people are. And it's just like that cool thing of like being able to like watch in on just like a group of assuming real like good friends that do work together, but probably met, blah, 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 like play those like really fun games and have that experience with you. Anywho, I've been laughing a lot, and I've been really into card games. So that's my obsession of the month. I haven't played any yet with anyone, but I'm like, I've been like listing ones that I see in their videos, and I'm like, yeah, I'm ordering some. I want to try them out. I've got Cards Against Humanity locked and loaded to play with my friends quite literally tonight, literally in a couple of hours. I'm ready to do that. It seems like, so I want to do like, they've inspired me to do like card game nights, and I'm really excited to see how they go, because sometimes you're like, I'm like buying a card game for like, $40-$60, am I going to get worth it? But I see those videos, I'm like, they look like so much fun. I'm like, if I can just get my friends to participate well, I feel like I'm going to have bundles of fun. Anywho, that was my like weird, that's my monthly favorite. I was like, I always wanted to do monthly favorites, but I don't change what I like that much. Also, the point of this is I was watching the podcast of two of the Smosh members, Shane and Amanda, and they were doing a like personality quiz. Basically, I'm just stealing all my thoughts, values, and interests from Smosh at the moment. But they were doing a personality quiz episode, and they did a Myers-Briggs test, and I was like, would y'all want to see that as a podcast episode? Because it just seemed, it's not even like the quirkiest, funniest like bit or anything. I think it's just really interesting to follow someone along with that. And I thought it could be really fun. First of all, because like when I was watching it, you kind of compare what you like, I'd read all the questions out loud and talk through like why I'd pick those things. And then you can kind of compare. I love that sort of like, oh, I would do this. Or, oh, that's interesting. Or like, I never thought of it like that. Or, oh, it makes sense for you to do that, but me, I'd do this. I think that's really fun. It feels interactive, even though you're it's not like, you're not doing it with them, but you are in a way. I think that's really fun. And also I have done Myers-Briggs before. I did study psychology, even though the validity of Myers-Briggs is, who you ask. It is just a fun, cool thing to do, and it's a fun little thing. But I'm an INFP? I'm a mediator. INFP. Yeah, I am a mediator, INFP. But I did that probably, how old am I? Maybe 8 or so years ago. So I haven't actually done one in a very long time. And I wasn't going to like bring this up and do it. And then, cause I have this thing, and I don't know if anyone can relate to this, but when you get like that sort of attribute, you do a test, you go, and this is the dumbest thing ever, but I wonder if anyone can relate. And this is why, like, this is our safe space. We're all friends here. But like, I've done my Pottermore house sorting thing. It's those quizzes where you get a personality type, or you get sorted into this thing, my Myers-Briggs, and I never want to do it again because I get so happy with an answer, or like I do it for the first time, I have my answer, and that's my new, like, that's what I've told people I am when Myers-Briggs comes up, and and for that to change, even though I am probably a very different person from when I was, I'm like, I don't want to have that change. I'm a Slytherin too, but like, it's that thing of like not wanting things to change, or like I identify with those things even though they don't exist or mean anything, and I don't think about them unless I'm thinking about them, or like they come up. So I'm like, ooh, like, do I want to change it? And then I thought, no, I think if we like the thought of doing a Myers-Briggs, then I'll definitely do it, because it's time for a change, time for a new personality type. Or I get the old one and we realized I haven't grown in 8 years, or maybe it's just like, I've solidly stayed. I'm a similar person. I guess they're not like, no one. I guess it doesn't show, like, if you're still the same, I think it just means you always had those core intrinsic values, and they haven't changed as much. But if we want it, let me know. If I don't get if no one tells me no, then I'm doing it. But it's nice to know if like anyone would be interested in watching that sort of thing, because like this is our fun time. I like, having a bit of... That's what I want this. I want some sort of, like, feedback. People letting me know what they'd want to see, hear about, do for an episode. Any episode ideas, throw my way, because I love at least hearing them. But that's me. That's my week. That's my thoughts. That's what's been going on. I hope you have been having a fantastic week. Been enjoying life. Not having too hard a time, not been too busy with work or school or such. Me having to be like, what do people do? I'm like, how do I generalize things to say what you're doing? But yeah, I hope y'all at least got a little bit, I was gonna say peace in this. Y'all ain't getting peace while I'm talking, but I hope I've got to take you out of your day, let you have a little... We get to escape to a nice bit for a while. But yeah, I just hope you're having a great day. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you in the next one.